Race, damn it. Race. Fucking Mike's really goes to your head. Holy crap. Race, people. I am interested in people's views on race. Any views at all. Why am I so interested? Well, it's just I don't know, passing machine grease. Passing interest, I guess. Fundamental interest. Anyway, do I look just like a regular white guy to you? Well, my genetic history is a little bit more varied than the average white person in the U.S. is, I would think. I've got a smattering of Native American and a decent amount of Hungarian, and the fact that the word name of the country, Hungary, starts with Hun is not a coincidence. I think most of you know Huns came from somewhere. They didn't keep a real rigid written history about their travels, but they came from the what you would consider Western Asia, whether that be Western China or more towards Mongolia. People are debating about that. But anyway, as the Huns, who were in a very loosely bound, eclectic, and ethnically diverse group, as they moved west across what would be considered, northern parts of the Middle East, southern parts of Russia, through to Europe, they picked up tribes as they went. So not only is there Oriental influences in the genome of the Huns, but there was also Persian, Arab, and then Caucasian white influences as well, and that's fascinating to me. Not only because you can get a group of people that's just so bound by culture that they can interbreed, independent of race, but that when you mix them all up, you end up with somebody like me, who is just a conglomeration of dominant genes. Brown eyes, brown hair, tall and thin, and just the concept is interesting to me. But every time I look online about race, show me differences in race, bone structure, more than because differences in race are more than just skin deep, as the phrase says. You can tell by skull structure, particularly, what race an individual belongs to. And skull shape is used to determine race in forensic. If you've seen any of the forensic shows like CSI or whatever, you know that that's the case. So to have race be more profound than skin deep, to have it at least bone deep, that's remarkable to me. And yet we're all the same species, but the differences are so apparent. So every time I look online about what are the actual physical differences between the races, I end up stumbling upon like some crazy white supremacist site, or I stumbled upon another site that was trying to explain how get out, you two, get out. Jockeying for dominance. Another site stumbling upon trying to explain how Adam and Eve, two people, could produce enough variation in the genome to give the races that we see. It was completely preposterous. But anyway, I'm interested in people's opinions as to why I can't seem to find any, good scientific studies about race. Is there something to racial stereotypes? Are Jews, even though European Jews are white, they had existed in a very closed culturally closed society in Europe, kind of like a little pocket of interbreeding genes. So not only did they manifest genetic disorders that were specific to the culture, but they also had genetic positives that were specific to the culture too. Resistances to certain types of diseases, and at least I heard a couple of theories saying that, you know, some of the when you get, you know, two of the genes together, you end up with this certain disease. But if you've only got one or the other, then you actually have a bonus to your IQ, or, you know, brain development in a certain region or something like that. So is there actually something to stereotypes? You know, are Jews smart? Are Orientals really bad at driving? You know, are what are other ones? I can't even think of any. Are blacks lazy? I think I've had enough experience in the work environment to know that that one doesn't hold much merit, but it's still funny. Do they just come out of nowhere? Is it just cultural misunderstanding, or is there actually something to? You know, are Asians bad drivers because the space in the brain that's dedicated to spatial calculations in 3 dimensions, is that actually different for Asians than it is for the other groups? Stuff like that. I mean, you can scientifically verify whether, you know, that there's more of a profound difference between races than that. But every time I look, I can't find anything substantial. It's all crap. Like, oh, those white supremacist sites really piss me off. It's like, well, this sounds reasonable. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Wait a minute. Trying to convince me that Egyptians were white? Ancient Egyptians were white. That is the biggest load of shit I've heard. Oh. So any thoughts on the subject? However controversial or anything, I'll never block anything. Let's try to get a lively discussion going. I know that a lot of people probably have some strong feelings about this, which is probably why there's not a lot of scientific study done on race, because, especially in the U.S., there has been a history of tensions between races. Hopefully through, you know, intellectual and scientific understanding, we can smooth those out. But still, that's still no excuse for not doing studies on it. I can't find anything solid. So anything that anybody has to say at all about race, let's get it all out in the open. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm going to finish this, and then probably crack open a beer.